remember. This is the time, this is the place, and this is FC3 Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky. And hey, Tanya.
And since everything is geeky, if you love it enough, you never know what you're going to get.
That's right.
Yes.
You wanted to do that, didn't you?
I did want to.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You want to start over again?
No, we're fine.
We can start over again.
That's okay.
We'll do it live.
Let's do it live.
Bill O'Reilly, do it live.
Do it live.
Here we go.
All together now. See, because this is how flexible we are in this show. These are the things we do because we love you. You got to wait for the right cue. As soon as that hammer drops, you're in. Boom.
This is the time, this is the place, and this is FC3 Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky. And since everything is geeky, if you love it enough, you never know what you're going to get, even a redo.
Seriously?
This is your host, T. It doesn't happen very often. I was going to start this when you were not here this morning while we're waiting for you, but this week we're going to look back at 2018, the highs and the lows. And after that, stick around for upcoming events and our question of the week.
Feel better now?
Yeah, a little bit.
See, that's a thing.
I'm hungry, though.
You are?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do something about that.
I know. I'm ordering dinner for Tyler, Riker, and I.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Does your husband, Mr. T, pity the fool?
She's just staring at Billy right now, and she's like, what? Deer caught in the headlights, poor thing.
I think I have an answer to our question of the week.
Yeah.
Well, I do know I pity the fool, but I'm just like
you referred to yourself as T, so your husband would be Mr. T.
Yeah.
Which means
I didn't know what the reference was in regards to.
Like, wait,
to what? I'm like, I understand.
I had never
Mr.
seen Tiny go into complete vapor lock like just now.
Like,
that was
where
amazing.
Where the hell is that coming from?
You called yourself T.
Yes. Well, he calls himself C, and you would be B, but
it's
not
the Men
our
in
other
Black.
B.
It's Men in Black references. It's which Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth are going to be Men in Black this year.
Really?
Yeah, that's coming out.
I didn't know that.
I don't know if they're not rebooting it. It's basically a reprisal, and they're continuing on, but no longer the stories of Agents J and K. It's going to be the agents yet to be lettered.
Huh.
So
cool.
But
I like
Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson are going to be doing that.
I see.
So the triumvirate, it always boils down to the three of us. We're here. It's Billy, it's Tanya, and it's me, it's Chris, at the end of the year.
Well,
2018
it's getting close to
is coming to a close.
Holiday season and the weather and things like that.
Yeah.
And people have commitments and things like that. So
You don't have to make excuses. I'm not dinging anybody for not being here. Although, Tony, you're fired.
I'm not making excuses. I'm doing explanations.
I see.
Potentially the end of the world. We don't know.
Well, it's
wasn't that in 1999 when it was the Y2K?
1999, 2012. It's just there's
2016.
always 2016.
The Hell-Bop Comet, whenever that
We got to go
was.
back to 2016.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, that was a end of the world kind of a thing.
This is probably not a good thing that I'm ordering dinner when I'm hungry.
Yeah, you should never go to Wegmans when you're hungry too. That's the same thing.
Okay.
Give me a pizza while you're at it.
Yeah, seriously.
Actually, I'm ordering pizza.
We need a sheet pizza for the three of us.
That's it.
Well, we're having jambalaya this afternoon, and I was telling you that food can't touch.
Right.
At least. But I'll have a little bit of it, but it might be a little on the spicy side.
I did something the other night that I have not done in a while.
Cook?
I ordered a medium Domino's pizza.
Did you eat the whole thing?
I killed it myself. I have not done
How'd
that.
you feel the next day?
Oh, I'm not going there. Let me just say.
Did it have a peppercini on the side?
No, that's
Papa John's.
does
Okay,
that.
I got the.
Yeah. I am not 22 anymore. I'm just going to put that out there, and we're going to leave it at that.
How long ago were you 22?
It's longer than 22.
26?
Yeah, it was 26 years ago. I was 22.
Oh.
Thank you for reminding me. Dork.
You love me, and you know it.
It's true. It's true.
So does Billy. I brought him a Coke Zero today from Santa.
So we're going to review 2018 this year, or this year that was 2018. We're going to look back at it and go, oh, God, this happened. You know what?
Some good things happened.
Yeah, we had a lot of good things happen.
We had to
in
make our own
2018.
fun.
We did. We did make our own fun. We did several episodes of making our own fun this year. This is also going to be the last episode of Monkey Business for 2018. We're going to take a winter break, and we'll come back to the studio in January to start working on the second half of Season 3. So that's a thing. That'll happen. And that's that. So
in other words, we have more seasons than Luke Cage or Iron Fist.
Or Firefly.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
I renamed Tanya Joss Whedon, and I'm firing her.
You don't have the power to fire me.
You know
do
what?
not have the power to fire me.
I'm renaming myself Fox. I can cancel anybody I want except for the Kardashians.
Yeah, they're banned.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
They're also banned from the show.
Fox, the purveyors of such wonderful shows as The Jersey Shore. Yeah, okay. Or no, that was MTV, wasn't it?
That was MTV, yeah.
Jersey Shore was MTV's fault? Okay.
Okay.
So we have more seasons than Luke. You know, I do think it's like I said in the Monday broadcast the other night. I think because Disney is trying to consolidate everything into its own streaming service, that all the Netflix stuff is being canceled because they're getting ready to reboot things over on their Disney streaming service. So they're leaving Netflix.
Yeah, and that makes me sad.
So is that what we think is happening with Daredevil and things like that?
Well, that's the only thing I can think of for Daredevil, because Daredevil is so widely popular, it's so good, it's got such great ratings. To cancel it seems kind of counterintuitive. It's like almost like, what? You know, what are you doing? It's like you're taking a cash cow and killing it. It doesn't make sense to me. So what I'm thinking is Netflix knows its time is running short with these Marvel properties, so it's just canning them because, you know, they're going to get yanked anyway.
So does that mean we're all going to be sharing passwords? Okay, you get Hulu, you get Netflix, I'll get Marvel.
Yeah, seriously.
Right now I have Hulu and Netflix. So
I have Netflix.
I got CBS
Amazon.
All Access.
I have Amazon and Netflix.
I have my own Amazon account finally.
Yay!
Oh, cool.
And it has a wish list.
Yay.
That was a couple weeks ago.
I know, I missed that opportunity.
And everything that was on your wish list you bought for yourself.
I did. I made a wish list and then bought everything on it for myself.
I tell you.
I don't know what to do. Anyway.
Shall we take a break on that note?
We're going to take a break on that note. When we come back, we're going to jump right into talking about 2018.
Oops. So if I had the music.
Oh, no. Let me do the books.
Okay.
You start with the movies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with the movie. No, you start with the movies.
I'm gonna start with the movies.
Don't start with me. That's what I want.
I'll end with you. I don't have to start with you. I can end. I'll finish you.
Oh,
ooh.
Well,
wait.
There's.
That was so wrong. Never mind.
That escalated quickly.
That either sounded violent or sexy.
Maybe both. Maybe both.
Oh, that was so wrong.
Tanya, do we have to have a post-credits kind of scene together or something? I don't know. Holy crap.
No.
Anyway.
Oh, sorry.
So we're going to start right off the bat with the top 10 highest-grossing movies of 2018.
Which, I have seen all but one.
Let's see. I saw one. I missed that one. 2, 3. I missed 4 of them. I didn't see 4 of these.
I'm bad. I've only seen 3 of them.
So Billy's missed 7. You've missed 4. I've missed 1.
Okay.
So why am I the biggest nerd out of regards to the movies?
Well, that's why
here?
you wanted to take the movie list.
Oh, okay. No, it's because I have a date night partner that will go to the movies.
Yes, Sean goes to the movies with you all the time.
I buy the tickets. He gets the concessions. I get the better end of the deal because I have my Cinemark movie clip
I thought that thing was going away.
That was Movie Pass.
Oh, gotcha.
I canceled my Movie Pass because I haven't been using it. But the top 10 highest grossing movies
go bottom up.
2018.
Start with number 10.
Was most recent one.
And one of the ones I did not see
is Venom. That's one. That's the one of the ones.
Did you see the Venom?
I did.
And how was it?
It was good. I mean, for me, it's check your brain at the door type thing. I'm sure there's probably some plot lines and things like that that there's probably people can poke holes in all of it, but I go to just enjoy the visual effects, the scene, whatever. I don't really necessarily
have very mixed reviews.
Yeah,
and Venom isn't a character that I particularly enjoy. So,
I
think I'm waiting for Netflix.
Well, there was Venom, Rampage, Carnage, and then there's a 4th.
The video game movies.
No, in regards to these alien species type things.
Okay.
That Venom's an alien species that needs a host or whatever. There's Rampage and Carnage that are also out during the movie.
Really? Spoiler, thank you.
Well, I mean... Okay.
But they're also part of the symbiote family that was developed in Spider-Man. Now, as a Spider-Man fan, I don't know how you can have a movie with that without Spider-Man being in it. Was there a Spider-Man reference?
If there was, it was one of those geeky references that went over my head that I didn't pay attention to.
So the thing is like I said, I just don't know how because the two stories are so intertwined.
Well, I'm thinking maybe this is when alternate universe.
Well, I suppose it's the way you're going to play
creative licensing.
Because Venom, wasn't that a Fox or Sony? It was Sony, so it's not an MCU movie,
right? Which
people are like, oh, it's a Spider-Man story. It must be an MCU. No, it's not MCU. It's Sony because they still actually have the overall clinging to Spider-Man. All right. Anyway, what was number 9?
Number 9, Solo: A Star Wars Story,
which I dug. I enjoyed that movie. I
saw it and I liked it.
Yeah.
So Venom was $212 million.
Yeah.
This is $213 million.
Right.
Number 8 was Ant-Man and Wasp,
which was a fun movie.
It was.
Just watched it the other night.
See it.
I will not.
I got it on Blu-ray, so I'll let you borrow it.
Do you have a Blu-ray?
I do have a Blu-ray. And I have the first Ant-Man, although I saw it, it's also on my DVR so that I can watch it before I watch Ant-Man and Wasp to refresh my
So
memory.
maybe on your way dropping Billy off, stop at your house and get the Ant-Man and Wasp DVD. And
he's got enough to do
the
right now.
Ready Player One, so I could have it and then drop him off.
Okay.
Just suggestion. Okay. And that made $216 million. And then number 7, Mission Impossible Fallout.
Another one of the ones I did not get a chance to see, but I love the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah. That made $220 million.
220, nice.
Number 6, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. That's another Sony.
That was the Rock property, right?
That's the Rock.
Kevin Hart, Kevin Gillan.
I really want to see this.
I do want to see it.
Fun. I actually have that on DVD also, so you can and Blu-ray or whatever.
I liked the first one, and I have some friends that saw this one. Just said it was very funny, really enjoyable.
And it's like, oh, it's a remake. No, it's really not a remake. It's a sequel.
Okay.
So I enjoyed that one, and I've watched it a couple times. Number 5, Deadpool 2.
Saw that with my son. We laughed our asses off the entire time.
And it's being re-released.
It's being re-released in a PG-13 format. So it's Once Upon a Deadpool is how it's being described. And they're cutting a lot of the really
bad parts out.
The really dirty stuff out of it. So that
kids can,
because they know that there's a big upsurge of popularity for the character. So they want to bring in a bigger audience, so they're going to reach out to the kids and the families and say, okay, we're going to clean it up just a little bit so that you can enjoy it.
And I heard that there's going to be some added footage, including Deadpool reading the story to Fred Savage.
Like Princess Bride type thing.
That is classic.
That's all the trailers
device.
I've seen.
That's the framing device?
Yeah, that's the trailers I've seen.
I have not seen any of the trailers, so that is just blowing my mind right now. I'm loving that.
Out of the top 10 highest grossing movies, this is the only R-rated movie.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
And going back, Jumanji had $235 million. Now this one jumps to $318 million. So
now we're getting into the big numbers.
The next one is number 4. This is the one I have not seen. Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. I'm not a huge dinosaur fan. This would be a hunter movie.
Yeah, Jules wants in on this movie. She loves the Jurassic Park movies.
I probably would eventually go and watch them, but I've seen like the first one and the second one, but I haven't seen the Jurassic World ones. And that was $416 million. So now we've jumped even another almost 90.
Another order of
98 million.
Now we're going to get in some rarefied air.
Now the top 3 are, of course, are Disney. Number 3, Incredibles 2. I did see.
Yep. I saw it.
Didn't we see it? No. We saw it 2 separate times.
We saw it 2 separate times.
Okay. Did I see it?
I don't think I saw it with you.
No, I can't remember.
I know I saw it with Ian.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? It's like, I know that we saw...
you know what? I did see Incredibles 2 with you, and then we saw it across the universe together as well.
That's what I was trying to remember. Sean, not whatever type thing.
Your main movie partner is your friend Sean.
Yes. And that jumps from $416 million for Jurassic World now to $608 million.
Yeah, now we're getting some stratospheric numbers here.
Now, is that like overall, or is that just opening weekend?
That's overall. These are overall numbers.
Overall numbers, okay. Then number 2, Avengers: Infinity War.
At $678.
And the top grossing movie, which I thought would have been Avengers, was actually Black Panther.
So an MCU movie, to be sure.
Movie, and that was $700 million.
That is amazing. I mean, that shows you that shows you what that character was able to do.
Oh yeah,
to reach across so many boundaries to pull in such a huge audience.
And I saw it like twice. I think
I did too. Yeah,
because I saw it and then we saw it again before we did our podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that one once at the theater and just rewatched it on Netflix a couple weeks ago.
And Black Panther,
excellent movie.
Yeah, Black Panther was the kind of movie that you wanted to see again.
Yeah,
I just love the big rhino running up and then licks.
And then stops and licks the general. And
yes, and she's like, and he's like,
yeah, the guy riding it he's like so dejected, like run her over. No,
okay. He's like, that's Mom.
That's amazing.
She feeds me.
And so, but here's the thing: is now we're going to compare this list to next year, 1 year from today.
Which ones are going to be the top? So how many are going to be Marvel movies?
Oh, you know, Captain Marvel and Infinity War and Infinity War Endgame, Avengers Endgame is going to be up there.
Spider-Man Far From Home.
Spider-Man Far From Home is going to be up there. I'm going to say those are probably three of your top five.
And I think to throw DC in there, Aquaman.
Aquaman is going to be.
That comes out this year.
That's going to come out in 2018. Yeah. We have yet to see that number, but we'll make sure to talk about it in early January. I have a suspicion because the initial reviews are coming out now.
Aquaman looks good.
People are loving this movie. I think DC is finally starting to get it right. They started getting it right with Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. And I think with Aquaman, they're going to land the dismount finally. I'm looking forward to seeing this movie.
I read they've decided to go the route of just individual stories and not try and tie it all in together to a bigger picture, which I think is right for them.
They need to do that.
Yeah.
And then if down the road a Justice League movie manifests itself naturally, organically, roll with it.
Yeah.
Right? But instead of forcing to be like Marvel, do your own thing and tell these stories of these characters that have been with us for so long. Do it justice. And I think they're finally about to pull that off.
I think so, because they've done it on TV.
Yeah.
DC figured out the TV thing.
Oh, they have
better
on
than
occasions.
Marvel.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. And Jason Momoa is a god walking on Earth. We're just going to leave it at that. This man is he is the ultimate dude. All right, and I cannot wait to see this guy in action at full speed. I'm just saying that right now.
And the Shazam movie
with Zachary Levi, yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to be great.
So
a lot of things to look forward to coming out, and then we'll talk about numbers next year, and we'll make sure to make a point of comparing. All right, so the next topic we're going to do the top-selling sci-fi and fantasy books of 2018, and I got to tell you, I'm reading this list, and my brain is melting because half of this list
are older books.
Are books that have been around for decades, plural. Now, we'll do 10 up, just like we did with the movies. And number 10 is The Dungeon Master's Guide for 5th edition D&D. Not a decades-old book, but a decades-old game. It's still representing, it's hitting the mainstream. We talked about it last week a little bit. The Dungeon Master's Guide is one of the top 10 selling books of 2018. Holy crap. Now, let's be fair. It's the sci-fi fantasy books. We're not talking about the great documentaries, the all-American novels, things like that. Not the Oprah book reading list. We're talking about the nerd list. All right? Number 9. Are you ready for this? Number 9 on the best-selling nerdy books of 2018. The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. The Hobbit, people, is still in the top 10. How is that possible? That is amazing.
That's very cool, actually.
That is
classics.
I am loving that. The classics are still there in the forefront of our attention span. I find that phenomenal. Number 8, The Fall of Gondolin, J.R.R. Tolkien. What?
He's got a couple more on this list.
He's got 2 more on this list.
Yeah, so
that is blowing my mind. I am loving it. All right, number 7, the 5th edition Player's Handbook for Dungeons and Dragons. Critical Role has made 5th edition the mainstream. That's my opinion. When you have these podcasts coming out and these web series, people playing D&D and sharing that experience with others, I think that has been the linchpin. And I know we talked about with Jeremy Crawford earlier this year, and just talking about D&D in general and how it has gone from hiding in the basement with a couple of your friends to now you can talk about it openly. I'm hearing about D&D nightclubs being opened where you can get together and play a pickup game, have a couple of drinks, and socialize with people.
Is that the version of the book you got me?
Yes.
So there's one copy
there's one
added
copy
to this list.
You have a 5th edition player's handbook.
But I don't think that we bought it in 2018.
No, it was his Christmas present last year, so it was his 2017 Christmas present.
Mm-hmm.
But still, 5th edition's been around for a couple of years now, so the fact that it's got this uptick is just, it's awesome. Number 6 on the top-selling sci-fi and fantasy books of 2018, Of Blood and Bone by Nora Roberts. I know little about this.
That makes me go and jump in because I love her.
You do?
As not as a sci-fi writer, but just as a fiction writer
right.
normally. So I'm just like, ooh. So therefore, I jumped in to see what Of Blood and Bone looked like. And of course, it's a book 2. So therefore, now I got to go buy book 1, which is called Year 1.
Okay.
So then
is book 2 out? Because Susan read Year 1 and loved it.
Yes, it came out the 4th.
Okay.
So it just came out last week.
Oh, no kidding.
And it's already on the top-selling list.
So Of Blood and Bone by Nora Roberts just came out December. I just had it.
And it's already number 6 on the top.
Originally published December 4th,
That's
2018.
the demand on that book. People are like Susan.
Probably because they were waiting for the next.
For that.
Literally, we're recording this not just a few days after the book was released.
This is like what we're on the 9th, so it's in 4 days. It's made it to number 6 on the all-time list of works for 2018.
Wow!
Yeah, what does that tell you?
It also tells me I have to go get this book
there
for
you
Susan.
Go. There you go.
Okay.
Yes.
Number 5 is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, which was recently it's a
TV show.
It's a TV. Oh, well, who's got it?
Amazon, I think.
I think it's a Hulu.
Hulu.
It's a Hulu original, quote unquote original. Number 4, Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. Is that a Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones book?
Hold on.
Is that
I believe so.
Westeros book? We're going to look into that real quick.
Fire and Blood is 300 years before Game of Thrones.
So it's set in Westeros.
Yes.
Ooh, so it's like a prequel.
Yes.
And everybody dies.
It came out November 20th.
And is already number 4.
So it's 19 days old.
Yeah.
Based on our list, or 18 days old.
Damn. That's amazing.
Well, because it's George R.R. Martin.
That's true.
Now, if he would actually finish the series, people would be that would be up higher.
Well, see, here's the thing. What's going to happen is George R.R. Martin is no longer going to be writing Game of Thrones books. He's going to be writing the novelizations of the HBO series.
That's why he's letting
HBO run, because the season that's about to start on HBO is the final Game of Thrones season.
It's season 9, right?
8, I believe.
This is the thrilling history of the Targaryens comes to life in the work.
In Fire and Blood.
Yes. So it's before A Song of Ice and Fire. It's set before that. It's Fire and Blood.
Now, the top 3 top-selling sci-fi and fantasy books of 2018 are all books. The youngest of the 3 books I'm about to mention is about a little over 20 years old. And that's number 3, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Is still selling hardcore all over the place. Every day, people are buying the Sorcerer's Stone and reading that for the first time.
Which brings up to me a question. That's the first book in the series.
Yes.
How come the rest of them aren't somewhere on that list?
People
aren't buying. Well, obviously they're
maybe
buying.
Maybe if we did a top 20,
yeah.
maybe we'd see the other entries.
If
we did a top 20 list. But here are the top 2. Are you ready for this? J.R.R. Tolkien wrote both of them. Number 2 is The Lord of the Rings, which I'm assuming is encompassing all 3.
All 3, probably.
And then number 1 is The Silmarillion.
Wow.
Which I've never been able to read. I've tried. I own a copy of The Silmarillion.
Shorter stories?
It's all vignettes. It's all vignettes and like short stories.
Mark likes it.
Yes.
Our friend Mark is a big Silmarillion
fan.
It
offers a whole lot of history on Middle-earth. Things that you don't get to cover in The Lord of the Rings, and things that help set up The Lord of the Rings and makes more sense, really. But Tolkien, his writing is hard. Mm-hmm. He writes so thick. You really got to hunker in and go to town on that. It's just so amazing, but the depth of it, you really got to want it.
I think what helped me is being an English literature major.
Right.
I took the Shakespeare class. I took the Chaucer class. I took British literature class. So, as much as it's hard to read, I think it was a little easier for those that might have been studying that format of literature.
Right.
But I haven't gotten through the Silmarillion. I've gotten through Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But
that's amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing this time next year when we talk about the top-selling nerdy books of 2019, I want to see what's on that list. I'm really keen to figure that one out now.
I could get back into reading.
Not that I'm in any great rush to get to December of 2019, but I'm just saying I'll be curious when that comes around. The next section of our retrospective of 2018 is kind of like the obituary section, where who did we lose over the course of the year? And
but we're not forgetting them.
It's a long list, but there's a few noteworthy names I'm gonna pass through. Go ahead.
Actually, one of the first ones on the list in February 2nd last year, Dennis Edwards of the Temptations.
Yeah.
I love the Temptations, and I only bring him up on our little nerd podcast is because I met him a few years ago.
Oh, did you?
He came to town with the Temptations, his version of the Temptations, doing a show at the War Memorial. And the Brother Wee show, which I work for, we had Dennis up to promote the show, and he was a fabulous storyteller.
Yeah.
A very, very nice guy and a lot of fun, so... I just
great.
wanted to mention Dennis Edwards.
Absolutely. So. And, and the same thing, it's funny, the first two people we talk about are both singers. The month before that, in January, we lost Dolores O'Riordan of the Cranberries, which totally shocked everybody.
Same age as me.
Seriously. I mean, and unfortunately, she'd had some health issues. Apparently, the cause of death was she had some sort of a seizure while she was in the tub, and so she accidentally drowned because of this health issue that she'd had.
But fits into the Nerdy podcast because of their song Zombie.
Zombie, there you go. We were just talking about zombies last week. It's the First Amendment right. It's protected. But yes, I miss her. I mean, she's got some great music out there. I had come to Rochester a couple of times with the Cranberries before the band hit it huge.
David Ogden Stiers from MASH. And also, March. I remember him from an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
I was just going to mention that
one. I
just
came across that.
The Loxana Troy episode. That was a great episode. Very meaningful episode. Stephen Hawking's passed away this year. Who else did we lose here?
Vern Troyer, Mini-Me. From
I saw that.
Barbara Bush.
Right, the president's, former First Lady, Margot Kidder, the original Lois Lane in the movie screen. Well, probably not the original, but one of the ones that people think of the most.
Yeah,
Anthony Bourdain.
I remember when Anthony Bourdain's passing was announced. We were at Channel 13 during the media run for FC3 2018. We're in the lobby, and the news breaks, and everybody in the room.
Oh yeah, because
stopped.
It was that weekend.
Yeah,
because it was June 8th.
Yeah.
And
it was that Friday morning, and everybody just stopped and stared at the screen like, "What?" And everybody in the room, right down to Eric Avari himself, were like, "Oh my God, that shook the room." It was impressive. It was amazing.
I want to bring up another singer because I have another story.
Go for it.
And what month was this? August 16th. Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
And my story is the very first Rochester Jazz Festival. Aretha Franklin headlined at Frontier Field.
Oh my God! Okay.
And Brother Weeze and I, we had Weeze was introducing most of the acts for that day. It was a long day of shows with Aretha headlining. It was an Average White Band and the Blues Brothers and Dr. John and a couple other acts.
So some serious names.
So I'm backstage with him, which is basically center field. The way they had the stage set up, we were out in the outfield. And so before Aretha comes out, they come out and they put up orange cones, like highway cones. And basically it's other musicians, me and Weeze, and some stage-hands. And yet Aretha, they wanted to do like a royalty thing. Like, everybody get back. And they brought her out in a golf cart from about 50 yards away. They had her in the golf cart, brought her through the line, and all was looking. And then she got out and had to go up the stairs to the stage. And at the time, and I hate to say this, but she was pretty much at her heaviest.
Yeah.
And in a big purple dress. And Weeze was laughing so hard watching her. He's just started punching me in the arm. He couldn't breathe watching it. It's sort of sad, but it's a memory I'll always remember is he's laughing so hard he couldn't breathe watching Aretha Franklin come through in this golf cart when we obviously weren't going to attack her. We didn't need to be restrained. We would have gotten out of the way or whatever. And then seeing her go up the stage.
Get up the stairs.
Struggle
well,
isn't a word, but
she was the ultimate diva.
But she was,
really
and
was.
The show was fantastic.
And she's just such an amazing woman.
And I heard from some musician friends that she had local musicians play as her backup, and I hear she was very professional and great to work with, but I'll always remember being back there for that. In fact, for some of the acts, I wound up literally standing on the stage, the back of the stage, watching the acts in front of me.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was a fun day, headlined by Aretha. So
we also lost the playwright Neil Simon in August.
That's
and
right.
the man behind Barefoot in the Park, The Odd Couple, and just several more. He was 91.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. That's
the biggest actor of the 70s by far. Like, he had like 5 movies out every year, and was a huge. Did he ever wind up in a comic book movie? Because it seems like everyone
so.
has.
No, I don't think he did. I mean, his acting career kind of slowed down after Boogie Nights. He really kind of stopped making movies at that point. I mean, he was popping up once in a while.
Yeah.
I think there's a cameo that he's got coming in a movie that's yet to be released.
He was the star of a movie just before he died that I'd heard really good things about, and the name is escaping me. But he plays a washed-up actor going to receive an award, and I hear his performance is fantastic in it.
Well, I'm sure he had.
Let me see if I can find his. The Last Movie Star was the name of it, and so I want to check that out. I've heard great things about that last performance. So
yeah, we'll check that out.
Obviously, Stan Lee.
Stan Lee in November. Also, William Goldman, who wrote Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, All the President's Men, and
The Princess Bride.
The Princess Bride, the man who brought us The Princess Bride. So Stan Lee was a huge one. You watched the entire comic book community, Comic-Con community, just everybody stopped for a moment to just kind of talk about Stan.
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. So how about us? How about our 2018 in review? I mean, we did a lot this year. We have done a lot this year.
Yeah.
We've interviewed some great people. We've talked about some great things. Sherry has kept us with topics to talk about and people to talk to. We've done a lot of stuff this year, and I was really amazed at some of the places we've gone. And it's really kind of setting up the places we're going to go. If you'll pardon me making a Dr. Seuss reference. Oh, the places we'll go. Do you remember anything in particular about some of the things we did this year?
I just remember I love talking to you guys every week because at some point we make each other laugh really hard.
Oh, God, yes, we do.
And that's my favorite
earlier.
We have laughed a lot in this studio this year.
So more than just in general, every week, whatever the topic is, at some point, one of us makes the other one's laugh really hard.
Yes.
Whether there's just the 3 of us or whether there's 9
the cast of characters, yeah.
Which is always possible. And I've met a lot of really cool people thanks to you guys. Mostly you guys.
I'm glad to have you along with us, man. So, we're just happy to have you part of the family. That's all. That's
legitimately my favorite part is whether we talk about stuff that I'm familiar with or not. I don't know much about Dungeons and Dragons, but I could listen to you guys talk about it for, hours.
See, that's important to me because I want to make sure that nobody gets lost in the conversation, that nobody feels like, oh, you're way over my head, so I'm just going to sit here quietly. That if you can pick up something, even if you're not familiar with it, that's fine. And then you'll make these little side comments, and just the non sequitur part of it. It's like, oh my God, that's said. I'm now laughing. That's just it's been such a great ride so far. I'm just enjoying it so far. So having you and the little miss over here who's grinning at me at the moment, the 3 of us are the core. Well, we've had some great folks with us.
I know what my favorite part is.
Tell me.
We have a podcast that has merch.
That's true. We do.
I have a sweatshirt with a character that represents me, a monkey.
That's it.
With a cloud on it.
It's not a cloud.
It's not a cloud. So how did I wind up in a podcast with merch?
Merchandise, yeah.
I can ask the same question. It's just, it's you know what? It's one of those times where everything came into alignment and an idea made its way into reality. And that doesn't, I've had several ideas over the years. I've had several ideas that I've come up with off the top of my head, and I think that they're great or I think that they're funny. But I'll tell you, 99% of them
don't come to fruition.
99% of them have stayed stuck in my head. That's as far as they've gotten into reality. But here we are. We have Flower City Comic-Con. We have Monkey Business. We have a lot of things that have kind of occurred. And then they've taken on a life of their own. And they've gone off and they've done things and they've had adventures. And it's amazing. There's going to be, by the way, in 2019, somewhere along the line, there's going to be a book about Simmy, the monkey.
Oh, really?
Yep. Anne has been spearheading that. She's been writing that and having friends illustrate for
Simmy's Adventures.
Simmy's Adventures are going to, and this is now. Did I ever see that one coming? No. When she popped up in my head,
we're getting our own Simmy merchandise.
Yes. And when she popped up in my head a little over a year ago, I did not know where this child was going to go, but here she is. She's got her own life and she's got her own adventures
12?
now. She's 12. She's a 12-year-old little girl. And she's got a bunch of interests and things, and she loves stuff, and she wants to go explore and adventure and be a part of things, and there you have it. So Simmy's a thing. How about you, Ton?
We have done a lot this year.
We have.
We've had great guests come in. We've had a mini con, a regular con, another mini con. We've had our podcasts. We've sometimes I don't know which way is up.
It's that way.
That's that way.
It's
yes.
that way.
So, and I think the anticipation of what we're going to talk about next. It's like, oh, I was a little worried about the geeky court cases that we talked about last week, but yet, thank you to Sherry having all that research already done. Going, okay, I'm not necessarily going to know a lot about the stuff. I didn't know any of those court cases in regards to things happening, and I'm just
I didn't even know court cases involving Nerd World would actually exist, other than like publishing rights and stuff like that.
Right, it's like intellectual property and things like that, and you're going to get sued because you used a figure and you're not
stuff
supposed
like that's
to.
kind of obvious, but you know.
to like tariffs on toys, and it's a higher one if it looks humanoid versus looking like a monster. So it's just the knowledge that we've gleaned this year and how we're just continuing to put forth knowledge about all of these different concepts and subjects and topics because we're making sure that we keep part of our educational thing and
the component
that component. And so like the teacher in me is like, yay, and then I'm going, oh, I need to read more, and it just watching the joy on my students' faces when they're talking about something they're interested in regards to, like, I've told them I've been playing WoW, and they like look at me, they eyeball me, and then I just do something silly there, and then they're like, oh, this is coming out. Did you see this? We got to watch the trailer now, and just watching the joy on my teens' faces at school, because I've got a lot of geeky ones, and I love them all. Depends on the day, but yes, I love them all. So
good stuff.
That's me.
That is you. It really is. Very accepting, very interested, very like to
Depends
explore.
on the day.
Well, there's many days you just need a nap and you're good.
Oh, I took a 2-hour nap yesterday after putting up lights. I was so cold. I was frozen.
I'm too lazy to put up outside lights.
Yeah, me too. But I got my tree decorated now. A couple weeks ago, I got it all set up. His name is Fraser. Well, I think in terms of the podcast, my highlight this year, like Billy said, every week we find a way to laugh our butts off, which is just wonderful. I love that. Very rarely have I been breathlessly laughing, but still those moments are the really cherishable ones. In terms of the actual, like a technical highlight, my favorite was the interview of Jeremy Crawford. That was the one.
Was that this year or last year?
I thought that was this year. Was that this year?
Probably.
Probably this year.
I think it was. I think it was. Wasn't it May?
I believe so.
It's been so long.
It
so
has been.
Like
we've recorded so many episodes over the course of the year.
And we're like, when did we do that?
But that's still like my highlight.
I think it was still this year.
We've talked to some great people. We've covered some great topics. We've had a lot of fun. The big show back in June was just a lot of fun. Meeting Catherine Sutherland, meeting Greg French and Michael Koski. That was life changing. And it's not. I don't want to be melodramatic about it, but meeting Mike and Greg was such a wonderful surprise, because I don't know what we anticipated before they arrived, but here's these two guys who've been character actors and stuntmen, and they came in just wanting to be a part of the show and doing their part, and they left being friends of the family. Michael came back to help us with the mini-con back in October, And it was like having an old friend from school come by. That's how cool and down to earth these guys are. And I remember driving Michael to Erie, Pennsylvania after MiniCon was over so he could meet up with his wife. And just the two of us just shooting the shit and just chatting away about our kids, about our homes, and about work, about just generally just stuff that we've noticed and observed. Just hanging out, And so to have those guys come as guests and leave as friends was just huge. And Eric Avari,
oh, he's awesome.
Was a highlight of my year. That man, it's like I want to call him Uncle Eric from here on in because he was just just the nicest human being I think I've ever met. And I've met some amazing people in my day. And he recently lost his beloved dog, and that was heartbreaking.
Yes.
That was heartbreaking. But just to be able to be in touch with that man and just chat with him and talk to him, and when we did our second panel, and he was talking about the Laurence Olivier bow. And we did it together and we got the audience to stand up, and it was just a rip, just an absolute rip. So I had a lot of good highlights to this year. So considering all the chaos I went through in my personal life, to have some highlights to latch onto is a wonderful thing.
You bought a house.
I bought a house. I moved into a house.
And you're putting stuff up on the wall, so it's kind of like making it like home.
It is.
I saw that your office, when you were starting to do your Nerd World News, is starting to
get a little bit more cluttered back there.
Yes.
And getting pictures up and things like that.
So I saw Gallifrey and Flowers for Algernon were up there. So have you added more to that?
Oh, yeah. Kat Sutherland is up now. Eric Avari's up. Michael Koski's up. Greg French is up. Elena Huffman's up. Brent Spiner is now up. Nichelle Nichols is
classy
up.
Lady.
Oh, I have an amazing woman, amazing human being. She's up on the wall now. These are all autographed pictures that I've collected over my years working with conventions.
I need a wall. I've got some autographed photos, but I need a wall to put them.
I ran out of frames, but J.G. Hertzler is going to be up next. J.G. Hertzler is going up, and then I have two pieces by Rob Dumo and Steve Geiger that are going up. Steve Geiger did this great, Sports Illustrated She-Hulk coming out in a swimsuit coming out of the water with the water flying and the hair flying and everything, and it's just a spectacular Sports Illustrated kind of picture, and it's 11 by 17. And he gave it to me as a thank you gift for having him being a part of our first show. He was part of the 2016 show. And so that's just a phenomenal piece, and I can't wait to get that up. And Rob Dumo did a character, Roxy or Moxie, from the Borderlands video games, and it's just such a cool picture, and so he signed that for me. And then I got my Hogwarts poster in the stairway, and I've got a poster of all sorts of D&D dragons that is going up in the stairway.
I love the fact that I'm assuming, Tanya, you also have a nerdy house.
She's got broadswords in the foyer.
Yeah.
You have a nerdy house.
I wasn't denying it.
Yeah, no, you were thinking about it, though.
I was thinking,
but people would walk into your house, my house, and think, what is this?
Yes.
Because I have art, all original comic book art and pictures and stuff all over my house.
Bits and pieces of my house is nerdy.
Yeah.
Like our foyer is definitely geeked out in medieval type times because we have those banners and the swords and things hanging on the wall. And then our living room happens to have the dragons. So it's our foyer, our den, office area, our living room, definitely. And then our bedroom has the two classic medieval knight lady in waiting photos that it seems like everybody had back in the
80s and 90s.
80s and 90s.
Yeah.
But we have them in nice gold posters. So, yeah, there's definitely nerd-type things in our house.
I've still got a couple pieces I have to hang, including something I just bought at the MiniCon. One of the artists had prints of, it looks like a poster from an old boxing card or wrestling card, except these were fights between Japanese monsters.
Oh, wow. Yes, I've seen that. Yes, you showed that one to me.
Yeah.
That's awesome. My living room is kind of bland yet. I haven't put a lot up. I have one black and white picture of Stonehenge, which looks great on the blue that I've used in my living room. But I have this big, huge chunk of empty wall, and I'm thinking I want to go local artists. I want to get a piece from my friend Jamie Lowe's. I want to get a piece from Judah Nevedomsky. I want to get a piece from Jay Ferguson.
Ken Wheaton?
I don't have anything from Ken Wheaton yet. I want to fix that soon.
He works part-time, at least, over at Rhino's Comics on Dewey Avenue.
Okay.
Also, which isn't too far from where you live.
No,
so
I'm going to head
over
over there.
Stop down there at Chet is the owner and a real nice guy. Ask him when Ken's going to be there.
Absolutely.
And see if Ken will draw something for you.
I'm about ready. I think I'm about settled the financially and everything is settling. I'm done buying stuff for the house for the most part. I have a lot of projects. My car is almost completely repaired, which is an amazing thing. Knock on wood. I think I'm ready to go back to a comic book shop and start a pull list again.
Cool. There's some good ones in your
I know. I haven't had one in 2000. I did not have a pull list in all of 2018.
Now, have you gotten through that big stack of books that you had?
No.
Okay.
Stop.
Can I say I've spent the last 2 weekends begging and bored. I haven't had a pull list in about a year, but I've the bunches I had before were still in like the plastic bag, like the comic book bags, and they've just been like stacked up in various parts. I'm going to bag and board these things. I have 4 short boxes and a long box that I hadn't bagged and boarded until I finally finished them last night.
Wow.
It took me 2 full Saturdays and a part of a Sunday to do them all.
It's amazing what we get
like
ourselves
hours.
into.
I mean like 8 hours at a time.
That's amazing.
Wow. I don't get it. That's the part I don't get.
Well,
Now
you
I
want
have
to protect your
read 'em.
investment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because these things are going to be worth money someday.
And if not, I
We
still
have
want them
D&D
nice.
books in our basement that's worth money. So is that...
You have a D&D basement. Okay, don't say D&D books in your basement. There is a lot. One of these days, we're going to take a Facebook Live video of your basement just so we can do a grand tour. Just show people the enormity of your husband's collection.
He believes in redundancy.
Yes. He has something like 32 original first edition players' handbooks because if there's ever people at the table, he wants to make sure that everybody has their own copy to work with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's both cool and extra nerdy.
Yes.
Yes. So eBay is his friend.
Yes. And eBay loves Randy.
Yes. There's so many books. But like last week or 2 weeks ago when I was DMing, I was looking for something to do like random encounter, whatever. And so I was looking behind me and I'm like, okay, where's the first edition DMG?
How about the Book of Erotic Fantasy?
That's
which is not the book you think it is.
No. So I'm like looking behind me going, where is the first edition DMG that's got those random table generators?
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a copy, so I'll have to find one. That's like the one thing I'm not liking about 5th edition is because they don't necessarily have those random table generators that the first edition had in.
Right.
So
There's a geeky highlight for me, separate from this show though, but it was meeting Kevin, going to New Jersey and meeting Kevin Smith. Yeah, and getting to spend some time with him and the other people in the Kevin Smith world, whether it's the guys from Comic Book Men or Tell 'em Steve Dave, his daughter Harley Quinn Smith. I had a really nice conversation
one of these days.
with. And I know the guy that played Dante in Clerks, Brian O'Halloran. Yeah, we talked about. I was wearing a Clerks T-shirt, and he told me, "Oh, that's the British version because they had J in it. The original U.S. version of the poster didn't have J in it, so that's the British version of it." And I never knew that. So
you have a little bit extra merch there going on.
So it was fun talking to all the folks from the Kevin Smith world.
That's cool.
And
the View Askew universe.
Yes.
There's been a lot in 2018.
I'm
looking forward to 2019.
I will say this. I hope 2019 is a little calmer.
Yes.
I can't do another, like summer of 19, I can't do another summer of 18.
Yes.
All right. There was just too much going on and too many facets of my own world. So
And you know what? At this point, I'm sorry, but December, as much as I love the holiday season, December has to end. And I mean,
our problem is December started in like October this year.
Yeah, we were getting
cold for
getting snow.
That,
it's like, what?
And 2 very good friends have both lost their dads.
That's right. Yeah,
Deanna's dad passed away the day after Thanksgiving, and so that hit home. So much love to FC3 in regards to Deanna losing her dad. And I just found out on December 8th that my good friend Mark, who is definitely one of our other nerds, he lost his dad yesterday.
Oh, God.
So
no. I did not hear about that.
Yeah, I just found out about it most recently. And so that's just... Okay, I'm done with December, and they knew it was going to be coming, but it's still just really hard to hear. And he's definitely the baby of the family. So Dad, I think, was in his 80s, so he had a good run and things like that. But it still hits home. And Mark and his family were on vacation, so they were in Disney when it happened.
Oh man.
So, but as Mark said, Dad would say, keep partying on type thing. So much love to Deanna and Mark and
all of our friends.
Like
our
that.
heart goes out to you guys, and I get that. Now, on an upside with the funeral for Deanna's dad, there was a lot of heartwarming, a lot of good memories, a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. And I have not seen her younger brother Jason in quite some time because he was behind me in 2 years,
right? Three, because he graduated in 91.
Yeah, because Deanna was a year behind me in high school,
and I was a year behind
Jason
Deanna.
Was 3. But Jason has become the embodiment of his father.
Oh.
He used to be this scrawny little punk, and now he looks just like a younger version of his dad. And he talks like him often, and he's got the same delivery of dry one-liners and whatnot. And I'm like, oh my God, this is you take the good, you make good from not so good.
And so talking about everything's geeky if you love it enough. I would say that Mike was the epitome of like the
organizational
nerdiness type thing. Deanna's family was the one that we were putting up the holiday lights because it was the first year without Mike for the holiday time. So Sean, myself, Ann, and Deanna were over the other day, and truly the extension cords were labeled wishing well to the gifts in the wheelbarrow, and everything was tied up with zip ties, and everything was just so organized. And it was something that Deanna would joke about, that her dad was so organized that they would have camping checklists and things like that. So I'm like, okay. And we walked into the house, and there were coffee cans labeled with nuts and bolts and screws, and the filing cabinet. And Sean's like, oh my God, it's like looking at my grandfather's garage or my grandfather's basement. And
Old school.
Like, it's definitely old school. We're like, okay, does Grandpa have this? And Ben and Carter, Deanna's nephews, Jason's boys, were like, yep, Grandpa has it. And they went running off to...
They knew right where to go.
They knew right where to go.
That's
and
amazing.
it was just...
I like being organized, but there's a limit to what I can handle.
That's even more so than me. And I'm pretty organized, and I have stuff labeled in my basement. But and when I saw Carter, I'm like, wow, you look just like your dad, and meaning Jason. And Deanna's mom's like, you haven't heard that at all. And he's like, no, whatever, laughing. And she goes, now we're saying Jason looks just like Mike now. So
it's uncanny.
And it was just so bittersweet to see the respects paid during that service. But what got me is the military funeral. That's going to get me every time.
I know. It happens.
Even got our tough nugget of Sean.
Well, guess what? There's a beginning of a new year right around the corner.
It is.
And we're going to wish everybody a happy new year. And I want to... It's going to be a long list, but get ready to cue up the music there, Billy.
Okay.
And then we'll be back to talk about our events.
Yes. Oh, that's right, because we got to take a break.
We're not done yet.
We aren't done.
We haven't gotten rid of us yet.
We're like talking, whatever. I'm like, we still have events.
I lost track of time.
And things like that.
Yeah, but anyway, I want to say, for Billy and for Tanya, for myself, and for everybody who's been here, for Sherry, for Alana, her daughter Monk, for Chris.
Tony, you're fired.
Yeah, Tony.
We're going to rehire you in 2019. Don't worry.
For Becca, for Zach, for Rob, for Andy, for who else has been up here at one point or another? For Dolly, for Edwin, for everybody who's been a part of this podcast.
For Sybil on the phone.
For Sybil on the phone.
Deanna,
for Deanna, my darling sister Sybil.
Sybil's been here in person.
Yes.
Who has been here? She got a chance to be in the studio a couple of times this year. For all of the great guests who have shared their time and their experiences with us, this has been, overall, there have been many stressful parts to this year. There's been many down parts to the year, but you know what? This has been a good year. And so for everybody here, I just want to say thank you to 2018. And thank you for being part of the experience, to the listeners, to James, to Jen, to everybody who's taken part and offered comments. To
Zach's dad.
To Zach's dad, Mr. Opsitnik. Was great to have you on board with us. As a listener, and for everything, I'm grateful. I'm able to look back at this year and go, you know what? I'm grateful it happened, and I'm glad to see it end and be done with and become a complete package. And now we're going to move on to 2019. But first, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about events, we'll talk about patronages and sponsorships, and we'll ask our question of the week.
Let's get some laughs from comedian Ted Alexander talking about New Year's countdown, since it seems appropriate.
Party people, huh? Yeah. Like to party, man. Like to celebrate. I think my favorite celebration is probably the New Year's celebration. I always like New Year's because it's so bizarre to me that we're drunk. We're counting backwards. Like, when did this tradition start? Did they have it back in ancient times, like in ancient Rome? Did they have the countdown and be like, X, I-X, V-I-I-I, V-I-I-V. I'm out. Happy New Year, Hoppocles. I am out. I will see you at the vomitorium. Yes, I will.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'd never heard that. That made me laugh for real.
That's good. Yeah, I got that. That's good. One of the girls at our office has her brother's birth date in Roman numerals on her forearm, and her birth date on her other forearm, both in Roman numerals. And I'd known her for about like all of a day, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, so 10, 28, 19, 7, and 10, or an 8, 23. Oh, so one's your birthday and one's another family member's, I'm assuming. She's looking at me like, you understand that? I'm like, yeah, I speak nerd.
My coworker Mo has her daughter's birthday and her son's birthday on the side of her...
On the knife edge of her hand?
On her pinky finger done up in Roman numerals.
That's amazing.
That's kind of cool.
That's dedication.
So,
let's talk about the event coming up in a couple of weeks.
We have an event coming up.
We do have an event coming up in about a month.
Yes. Wine and Design fundraiser for Mighty Monkey. Tickets are $35. Please register and complete the payment online through our Facebook page on MMC. BYOB.
What is MMC Roman numeral style?
M is
1,000, hundred. So it's like, is it 2,100?
2,100. Yeah, 2,100.
MMC is 2,100. That's going to be like a new code phrase or something.
2,100.
It's time to get some 2,100.
No, the code word was Captain Scapegoat. And I'm like, what are you?
Scapegoat.
I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm just like, it took me a little while. Okay, but bring your own wine or beer and snacks or purchase it from us. We will provide wine glasses and corkscrews. Ages 16 and under must be accompanied by an adult for the adult classes. Coupons and discounts are not valid for the fundraiser. Tickets are already on sale, so don't wait and miss out on it. Makes a great Christmas present. Hint, hint for the nerd in your life. Mm-hmm. Hint, hint. The painting that we are doing is Time and Space. It is a blue police box.
Hint, hint.
Yes, we
can't. I have a
can't call it truly what it is, but it's a blue police box.
I have a shower curtain with that thing. We can't call it what it is.
No, okay.
I just got a new TARDIS shower curtain, so it looks like our bathtub's bigger on the inside.
Very good. Do you have one of those curved rods? Because then it would definitely. Okay. But it will be held on January 26th, 2 days after my baby boy will be turning 20. I might need to drink that day.
Okay.
2 o'clock.
Wow, you're the first person to give birth at the age of 8.
I know. I tell you.
It's amazing.
I know. I'm not
very
old.
She has a Guinness Book of World Records entry.
It'll be at Salvatore's Old Fashioned Pizzeria place on Buffalo Road. So come join us. We're going to have lots of fun.
Please do. Should we do this in full radio voice?
Radio voice week? Again. I loved radio.
Are you going to break me again?
Let's do radio voice. You ready? I'll start it off. Do you want to be an FC3 Monkey Business and Mighty Monkey Corporation fellow? There are a few ways of doing that. Billy, tell us how.
Well, the first is to become a sponsor. We have sponsorship levels of all kinds. That's my radio voice.
Oh, my God.
That's not your radio voice.
That's my radio voice.
It's your radio voice.
I've heard your radio voice.
We have sponsorship levels of all kinds and are even willing to create a custom sponsorship packets. Please contact us at sponsorships@fc3rock.org.
The next is by supporting us on Patreon. Please check us out at www.patreon.com/FC3ROC. All membership levels will include access to the Patreon-only blog, plus tons of great perks at all levels.
Want to help others find the show? Please leave us a review whenever and wherever you listen to us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Podbean, YouTube, and Stitcher. Is there a place that you find your podcasts and you can't find FC3 Monkey Business? Please let us know.
Got to go full NPR on me, but Billy.
And please, whatever you do, follow us on Twitter at FC3MB Podcast. And if you do, please say hi.
Hi.
We love it when you say hi.
We do.
Hi.
We love it, especially during membership. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Now we're going back to all 12 seasons of Alistair Cook reading ingredients off of a soapbox.
And now all things considered with Tanya Metris.
Our question of the week. What geeky references, other than the one that Billy dropped earlier, have you dropped into a conversation that went utterly over the heads of most people you were speaking to?
Billy, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sort of, because I constantly reference The Simpsons, and no one knows where my lines come from. I don't know if they're even supposed to, but one of my favorite things in the world to say when they're saying, oh, this is really hard, Homer Simpson has my favorite line. Remember, if something's hard to do, it's not worth doing. And I say that all the time to people.
And they
just remember, if something's hard to do, it's not worth doing. And my other favorite one is, like, if you're in trouble, Homer will say something like, please, I'm normally not a praying man, but if you're up here in the sky, please help me, Superman.
Awesome.
Simpsons references are my favorites. So
I will usually do like one word kind of like throwaways. Like I'll throw Allons-y in or fantastic or Geronimo. So there's my Doctor Who stuff. But the other day I was in an inspection and I was training a guy, one of our newer guys, and he's like, well, sometimes we have to deliver bad news to landlords and stuff. I said, yeah, we could do this, we do this, we do this. But you have to understand the dynamics of our job. We have to present bad news to people sometime that they're not in compliance. And we're going back and forth. And then so he goes, all right, I'm ready. Let's head in there. I'm like, Shiny, let's be bad guys. Right? And he just kind of stared at me for a second, and he blinked, and he's like, what? I'm like, never mind. It's just...
Actually, one of my favorites, still Simpsons again, and Homer uses it in reference to alcohol. Mine is usually technology. But Homer's is alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
That is.
Mine is usually, I usually say technology is the cause of and solution to all
err is human. To really foul things up, you need a computer.
Or having a smart board that gets unplugged and
again?
No, not again. But
okay.
Thank God, because I tell you, the technology. You call the help desk and they're like, "Did you reboot it? Yes. Did you climb under and pull all the plugs? Yes. I didn't go to the power strip." And then when they showed up that afternoon, they're like going down, whatever, and they're like, "I'm like, oh, that was the second time."
Well, our last episode of 2018 is finishing much like the very first episode of 2016 started, with the three of us sitting around a desk making odd references about silly things.
Yeah. I think I don't necessarily have a lot of geeky references that people don't catch because, granted, I'm a teacher, and so therefore I'm always talking about something geeky at work. But I think one of the taglines that I use is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. When I'm talking in regards to math, when they're like, when did this happen? I'm like, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And so they're like, they just roll their eyes at me at that point.
Actually, one of my favorite things I saw on the internet, to the point where I almost want to do it. You know how when you go downstairs, the ceiling over your head also sort of goes down. It like tilts down. Someone painted the Star Wars opening on that. So it looks like it's coming out of your wall.
I've seen the opening crawl painted on the forward
part of the steps.
Yeah, on the forward risers of steps. So I've seen the crawl done up that way. That's fun too. But yeah, escalators and things like that. I think that's just that. I would love to do. If we ever get a chance to have corporate offices and those corporate offices have an escalator, that is happening. I'm putting that out there right now. That is going to happen. That's a thing. So
there we go.
All right. Are we ready?
Oh, is it time to hit music? Oh, do we still have a question? Oh, that was our question.
That was our question. We
weren't just talking amongst ourselves just then.
That was our geeky
question. We amuse the hell out of each other.
Oh, okay. So it's time for this thing.
It's time for this. This damnable song that has been with us forever.
So we're going to get a new one for 2019?
I'd like to.
For the outtake?
No, we're not going to. I'd like to, but we're not going to. Oh. Anyway, this has been Monkey Business, and we are the Mighty Monkey Corporation. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us wherever we go, and we'll lead you to wherever the entertainment is. You have a great new year. Be safe, and we'll see you in January.
In 2019.